While love may be a priceless emotion, what you exchange for it might cost you everything. What's good, guys? It's Alissa. If you're new here, hello. In this video, I will be going over some of the events that happened in episodes 7 and 8 of Fionna and Cake, the 𝙈 and 𝙬𝙪. So if you have not seen those episodes, spoiler warning past this point. Fionna and Cake episodes 7 and 8 have definitely altered my brain chemistry in some of the best and worst reasons. I don't necessarily break down the elements of each episode that I'm watching, but I do like to connect the themes of the particular show that I'm watching to reality. And the recent episodes of Fionna and Cake have definitely tapped into my hopeless romantic core, and as someone whose wallpapers on both of their computers are these two images, I am more than happy to discuss the topic of love with you guys here today. When you hear the word love, our minds tend to equate that to romantic feelings, but love can be expressed in many forms, and it is such a strong emotion that can guide you in ways that you can't even control. Like watching your one chance at parental love slip through your fingers, jumping headfirst to aid a friend who is being harmed, or being hurt by someone you love expressing disdain for your actions, especially if those actions were for the interest of their safety, whether they asked for it or not. The people you love the most have a tendency to hurt you the most. With mutual love comes the cat and mouse game of who is going to put their life on the line for who. Previously, Fionna had a whatever it takes kind of attitude on this journey to get back to her universe. She fantasized about adventure, but detached the idea that real life situations are attached to them. It's no longer a video game where she's getting upgrades for defeating the weirdos.
Amazing! It's like a video game and we're getting upgrades for beating those weirdos.
So the idea of pure innocent adventures became life-altering challenges. The magical world that Fionna has been wishing for was real, but this world comes with centuries of historical baggage that Fionna was plopped right in the middle of. The fairy tale love and the butt-kicking escapades have come with a hefty price, and that price can easily be her best friend Cake. Fionna doesn't want to trade lives anymore in the name of saving the day. However, Cake is more than willing to do so. Cake is willing to face vampires head on with everything she has if that means her best friend will be okay. While Cake is fearless when motivated by love, Fionna has allowed love to stifle her decisions. Throughout this journey, Fionna has grown to care for Simon, and with all the horrific things she's seen on the quest to get the crown, Fionna is having second thoughts on their mission. Where previously, Fionna thought Simon looked happy as the Ice King.
From fun wizard to sad loser.
He wasn't fun. He was insane.
I don't know. He looked pretty happy to me.
When she got a glimpse of him again as the Ice King in the Dead World tapes, she couldn't imagine inflicting that chaos intentionally onto someone just to keep magic in her own universe. As I stated earlier, Fionna believes that she is doing what is best for the people that she loves, even if it's not what they want for themselves. Fionna is alone in reneging on the Ice Crown plan. Simon wants to help them, and Cake doesn't want to go back to just being a house cat with no magic. Outnumbered, Fionna listens to Cake and Simon, because for the people you love, the sacrifice seems worth it. But what about the people you hate? Hate has been coined as a strong word, and even a frowned upon emotion to experience. But I believe love and hate are two sides of the same coin. By expressing how much you hate something, there's still an immense passion behind it. If you genuinely did not like something, you would be neutral. You really wouldn't care. We also see that in cases where someone hates something, it's turned into a weird obsession, which can also be said for love. You can love something so much that you become obsessed. This is the case for Marceline in episode 7, the 𝙈, and Bonnie in the vampire universe. Bonnie is so obsessed with taking Marcy down, even to the point where she's okay with them dying together if it is by her hands. Marceline hates Bonnie so much that even in her private time, she speaks on how much it was a thrill to see her face and cause her pain. When her minions would speak ill of Bonnie, Marceline would counter that negative with a backhanded compliment like,
"Dad says we can't underestimate her."
The people around her even see that she is not actually attempting to axe Bonnie. The Vampire King even notices and tells her to stop toying with her prey and finish her off, because Marceline and Bonnie are just flailing around, taking little jabs at each other with sly remarks, as if with each encounter they are anticipating the next time they face each other. The only way Marcy and Bonnie see this ending once and for all is if it's together, because life wouldn't be as eventful if one were gone and the other were left to keep going. Very Romeo and Juliet of them. Disclaimer, however cute, this is not healthy. But what about instant love? Love where you are all in from the moment you meet. Like the moment 𝙈𝙪𝙗𝙧𝙀 tasted Gary's pastry mentioned, he couldn't get them off of his mind. It's like he could tell whoever made this had such passion and thought behind it that once he met Gary, he was all in and fully supported his dreams. In my opinion, I believe that 𝙈𝙪𝙗𝙧 loved Gary faster than Gary with him because 𝙈𝙪𝙗 had a semi-introduction to Gary prior to Gary even knowing he existed. So all that was left to do for Gary was to get to know Marshall when the opportunity arose. And he didn't even care that Gary was like, who the hell is this guy and why is he following me all damn day? 𝙈𝙪𝙗 is super attentive and asks Gary so many questions about his project and would do anything to see him succeed. Remember when I said that love guides you in ways that you cannot control? 𝙈𝙪𝙗 let Fionna know way back in episode 1 that he is not on speaking terms with his mom, but he was 10 toes down for Gary's passion project when he heard him mention the Lemon Carb investors, who 𝙈𝙪𝙗 happens to know through his mom. He had their personal number and everything. So 𝙈𝙪𝙗 pulled a favor from his mom that came with a huge sacrifice. 𝙈𝙪𝙗 was willing to give up his freedom and his passion for music just so that Gary could succeed in getting an investor for his pastry project. Gary, in my opinion, fell in love with 𝙈𝙪𝙗 only just getting to know him through the process, not instant like 𝙈𝙪𝙗. He realized the big picture at the charity ball that 𝙈𝙪𝙗 was planting little seeds for him to grow. Again, 𝙈𝙪𝙗 thought that this would be what was best for him, even if that is not what Gary wanted or asked for. But Gary was not having that. 𝙈𝙪𝙗 didn't need to sacrifice himself just to lift Gary up. Gary believes there is a timeline where they can both get everything they ever wanted and live happily ever after. There's just something really beautiful about two people with two completely different personality types coming together and forming a bond. Simon Petrikov is a by-the-book and play-it-safe kind of guy, while Betty has impulsive tendencies and a slightly more outgoing personality. But what brings two people like this together? A dinner date? A walk through the park? How about a library book? Fate would have it that when you pursue your passions, you might just meet your soulmate by checking out the same book at the exact same time. If Betty's personality was less impulsive, she may not have decided to ditch her 6-month trip to Australia to go on Simon's expedition to find the Silky's Cove, or decide to leave a note in the library book because she knew that Simon would be the next person to check it out. Betty continuously took a chance on Simon, even when he was too afraid to. But that can only go so far. With Betty constantly making the first move, it gave her the idea that Simon did not feel the same way about her. But then, when she told him goodbye, and he saw that she was seriously going to leave for the airport, Simon couldn't let her slip through his fingers that easily. Simon decided to confess his love right there, that he wants her by his side. But how does a beautiful love story turn so sour? I'll have you guys know that my favorite movie of all time is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Similar to my interpretation of that movie, I believe that Simon and Betty's demise is also the reason they fell in love. Hyperfixation. Betty is aware that Simon loves his work as an antiquarian, and that love for finding ancient artifacts has never slowed down. So when Simon found the ice crown, it was the beginning of the end. Simon is aware that Betty is impulsive. She ditched her life to join his. She ran through a field of snakes after being advised not to, and she jumped through a portal to the future just to be with him. Simon's hyperfixation is ancient artifacts, and Betty's is Simon. Yes, I think it is objective that they love each other, but to me, down the line, I think Betty equated her love for Simon to her fixation on fixing him and keeping him safe. Betty tried to be okay with accepting Ice King and elements, but she just couldn't. She wants the old Simon. But Simon had been Ice King for so long that when he was cured, he was able to see Betty. That's all he wanted. No more magic. But for Betty, that wasn't enough. She had to make sure that she cured him and continued to keep him safe, no matter the cost. I believe that true love is a constant loop of loving all that comes with a person, then that also becoming the reason that you fall out of love, then falling back in love with those same things over and over and over again. That is all for this video. I want to apologize for how long it took me to get this video out. I know I'm late. I also want to thank my sisters for helping me script this video because I was stumped and I had a couple different directions that I wanted to go with it. But I love talking about love. I really can't help it. My birthday is exactly 9 months from Valentine's Day. And episode 7 and 8 really made me want to discuss this with you guys. So if you made it to the end of this video, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell to stay up to date with posts and uploads from me. If you want to stay in contact with me outside of YouTube, you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter. All that stuff is in my description box. But for now, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I hope to see you guys in my next upload. Peace.
The power of love is so powerful.